Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Solutions to the Dropout Crisis. This is Sam Drew with the National Dropout Prevention Center, and I'm here with my co-host and colleague, Marty Duckenfield, also with the Center, for a very special edition of Solutions. We're always happy to bring you these productions in partnership with Clemson Radio Productions here at Clemson and with the generous support of Catapult Learning and Penn Foster. Marty, they've been our longtime partners, and we're so appreciative to them for their efforts on our behalf with this broadcast. Today we are, as I said, we have a special edition to this program, kind of a culminating event for the year. We're going to be introducing you, and we're excited about this, to the new NDPC director and give you a chance to engage with her and hear more about her background and her future plans for the center. And we're going to talk about a framework for the future for the center. We're going to talk about the center and the network and what we're doing in the way of change there. We're going to talk about our new Research Fellows program and the plans that are underway for a Practitioners Fellows program. We are going to talk about our new international journal and the changes that are occurring there. And then we're going to wrap up really for you with some upcoming conference news that we think that you'll be interested in.
Yeah, a lot's been happening at the center this last year, I must say. And, we're really happy to be sharing that with everybody today. So welcome to all of you and to new listeners. We always like to have new listeners. And we're looking forward this afternoon to both sharing all the news as well as starting to give you some idea of the new opportunities for participation and greater input that are going to be available because of all these new things. So we're excited about that. Before we get started, Sam, let's refer our listeners to the selected items on the website. We have the PowerPoint, which I hope you have that open. It says slide presentation. Have that open and ready today because that gives you something visual to make sense of the many different things that we're going to be talking about today. And we also have a web link to our Fellows program, so you get to see all of our Fellows, not just those that are going to be with us today. As far as that international journal, we have a call for manuscripts up there, so you can start looking at that afterwards, and the news about our conference. And then, of course, because this is our 25th anniversary year, we have a link to the video that tells our story of the first 25 years. And here we are looking at the vision for the future for the next 25 years. So that's an important piece of history right there. We will be taking calls as much as we can during the program. So we invite you to call our toll-free number, which is 888-539-8859. And if you're calling from outside the U.S., that number would be 864-656-4549. We really hope you'll call in today to interact with our new executive director as well as with our fellows.
And, Marty, let's not forget to remind our callers that there is still one last chance today to have their names put in a hat for a drawing for a free registration to our national conference. We have collected those names during the year, and if you call in today, you still have an opportunity to have your name put in that hat, and we'll actually be making that drawing at the end of this program today. And you will hear more about that conference program later in this program, and the conference will be held in Orlando in October.
Right. Well, this is definitely a big day. We're also accepting email questions, which are sent to our email address, which is ndpc@clemson.edu. Please put the word solutions in the subject line so we can spot those. And we'll try to get to as many of those questions as we can. And for all of those who call or write in, we're going to send you a complimentary NDPC publication. So we're looking forward to those calls and questions today. Your participation makes this program the program that it can be. That number, again, toll-free, is 888-539-8859. And for those calling from outside the U.S., again, it's 864-656-4549. So with these slides, Sam, I think if they're all tuned in and looking at that agenda, I think we can move over to you now.
Well, it's a great pleasure, really, for me. She's sitting right next to me here in the studio, for me to introduce to our listeners Dr. Beth Reynolds. our new director of NDPC. And Beth just recently joined the center, and she and I have been pretty much glued to the hip for the last week or so. So I have gotten to know her very well. She's a quick learner. There's a lot to cover, and we're trying to get her started here really on the right foot, and she's just doing terrifically. And I know, Beth, that our listeners will certainly have many questions for you, either on this broadcast or later, where you're from, your experiences, what you think is in store for the center. But that's a tall order, but maybe we can just begin with you're telling us a little bit about yourself and your background. And you know, I was particularly impressed during the search process, Beth, with your letter of application and the fact that you saw this as a match made in heaven, so to speak. And it'd be nice if you address that for us.
Well, I absolutely will. The first thing I'll say in terms of it being a match made in heaven is I'm a South Carolina girl, and I am mighty glad to be coming home. I'm from Sumter, South Carolina, in case anybody out there in Sumter is listening to this. But I am delighted to be back here with all of my friends and family. I've been in Georgia for the last 15 years, but I'm glad to be home. And it is a match made in heaven for lots of reasons. I am very passionate about the issues that the Dropout Center focuses on, have been for a long time. In fact, the books that I've authored are about helping kids who struggle. It is where I've invested my heart. I care that all kids learn, but I absolutely care that we do what we need to do in order to support those who have a tough time getting through. In terms of my experience, I'm an old bird. I have 37 years in this profession, pretty diverse career. I have started as a middle school, high school English teacher, eventually was a high school principal, superintendent, went to the state level and played state consultant for a while, private consultant for a while, adjunct professor, book author. I don't know, you name it, I've probably done something that corresponds to this in a huge way. But it's all been great learning that I think is preparation for us here at the center. I'm really excited about the work of the center and the network. I look forward to teaming with people to move us forward.
Well, you mentioned the term old bird. I'm afraid I'm an older bird, and very sad, really, in leaving this center. But you don't ever really leave the center. That's one thing you'll learn, and I expect to be connected in some ways, and certainly here to support you. I think we have the absolute perfect person for this job. The passion will take you a long way, and I know you found that this staff has that same passion, as does all of the people that we've engaged with across the country really working on this issue. They are people with a passion for this work, and they really devote every effort to it, and you're just a perfect match for us. So we are very pleased to have you.
And I absolutely promise you will stay connected to the work. I have your cell phone number, so we will be talking.
Yeah, don't get off the hook that easy.
We have a number of folks calling in today. As we said, this was a special edition and a little unusual, and we hope that we can move through this without any technical hitches, because we do have a lot of people that we want to talk today, and Marty and I are going to sort of take ourselves out of the talking role today and let them talk. But we first want to hear, and this person holds the distinction of being the longest-serving network board member. He's also our recording secretary at this point in time, Dr. Erman Hervey. And Erman is joining us from Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida. Erman, we hope you're online. Greetings.
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Good. That worked. Erman, over the past couple of years now, the board has been engaged in some pretty heady strategic planning, really trying to position the center in the best way possible, really, for us to move forward, given the changing climate in the land and many other organizations, really, that have entered this field to work on this issue and work with us on this issue. And we certainly don't feel in competition with all of them. We need all of these people working on the dropout issue. But part of that strategic planning had to do with focusing our work more around research, around strategic partnerships, around better use of technology to do our work in the field. And it had to do with really focusing on the center more as a research center, a way to generate knowledge, and then having the luxury of a membership network across this country that we want to make much more active as the engagement arm and the outreach arm of the center. Give us your perspective on that, Erman, in terms of the board's engagement with this and support of this over the past couple of years.
Absolutely. Well, having been on the board for almost a decade now, of course, I can confirm that the board in general is certainly committed to the larger work, and I believe we've really done some good things to date. But I tell you, I am really excited, and I believe I speak for the entire board about the future work of the center. And as you have described, I think it is more clearly defined, and it actually takes on the form of really what colleges and universities do, and that's around this whole relationship between research and practice. So we have a format or a way that we can now generate new knowledge and engage in research, whether that's with the faculty at Clemson or the fellows that are appointed to do that work. And we also have a way to, translate that research and that theory into practice. And we can do that also through practitioner fellows, but also through the various events and conferences that the center and the network have throughout the year, and engaging with those who are already involved in that work. So to your point, I think as a board, we've been engaged strategically for the last couple of years, and I think that we have done much to, answer those questions that most organizations have to grapple with when they've done some level of self-assessment, and that's the identity question, the who are we, and the mission question, how do we do it, and what is our purpose. So I think we're really there, and I am really excited about the future work, and especially with our distinguished director on board now with Beth. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and she's going to carry us forward, and I know she has other ideas also to add to this discussion, and we're happy that she is bringing some of those ideas with her, and we'll talk with her a little more later in the program about that. So, Erman, thank you so much for joining the conversation. We appreciate so much the participation of the board in these efforts and the guidance that the board has given us during these really 2 years of strategic planning.
And I think what, Erman's comments underscores what we have in place and what we're really taking advantage of is this infrastructure notion of a center where research is encouraged and developed, and then the outreach portion of this vast network of which they are the board of. And so there's a real level of excitement right now about actualizing the potential of this organization.
Yeah, and not that we have not done that in the past, but I think it's more of a refinement of that at this point, and a way to reactivate our network, which was strong in the beginning, and give us really the combination of a research center and an outreach arm, really that will really help us move this work forward.
Okay, I just got word that we have somebody joining us. Sam and Beth. On the air with us in 2 seconds or so is Terry Pickerel. And if you look on your slides, I want to make sure you're with us. We have a slide that's called NDPC Fellows, and then we have a next slide that shows you Terry. And he's been working with us to develop the NDPC Fellows program. So have a look at them and his slide. And, hey, welcome, Terry. We're glad to have you with us.
Thanks.
Terry, it's great to have you here, and I want you to talk about this fellows program. You've been so instrumental in helping us really develop this program from from an idea into an actual program. We've started with the research fellows, and our audience will actually get a chance to hear from 3 of those today, various projects that they're working on. And, of course, we have plans for a Practitioners Fellows program, but give us your ideas about this Fellows program, having worked with us from the very beginning, conceptually with this program and bringing it to where it is now.
Sure, and thanks, Sam. And Beth, welcome. We look forward to your leadership and following up on the great work that Sam has created here with the Fellows program. A couple of things about the Fellows program. For all of us as Fellows, it's great to be part of a movement to increase the graduation rates in high schools in the U.S. And being part of a movement to us means that we don't work independent of the center. We work right along with the center. And our first meeting, I think, demonstrated our desire to work with the center to advance the research-based practices and evidence-based solutions that the center has identified. In addition, we want to be part of awareness building and dissemination of the center strategies. We want to be able to connect the center with the various networks and organizations that we work with so that we can expand the reach of the center. We want to take on in teams research projects that analyze the existing data, and we want to develop new projects that help us to uncover and understand both what the quality practices are in schools, but also the conditions under which those practices flourish. And an additional role that we have and responsibility is to help the center understand the ever-changing educational and social landscape in America so that we can take advantage of the opportunity for the center to be part of other conversations, to be part of the dialogues, and in fact change the dialogue about dropout prevention. So basically we're helping the center build awareness, increase adoption of quality practices, and advocate for those practices that are evidence-based that lead to engaging young people to stay in school.
Yeah, that is very well put. I don't know that I can add a thing to that at this point. I do think that it is exciting to be a part of what we're terming a movement. There are a lot of other players in the field. There are a lot of people doing good things. We're hoping, in particular, that the network of practitioner fellows can take the work done by research fellows and really put that into action in the field, and really have an arm that can. There have been a number of summits around the country. There's a lot of activity going on right now in dropout prevention, but no real mechanism for assuring that the knowledge gained and discussed at those summits really reaches down into the individual schools and school districts. And so we have high hopes for that to happen through this network. Terry, we appreciate the work that you've done with us. You've been a guiding force in that, and have really helped us define where we should go with this program and what it should look like. Marty?
Yeah, I think this is a good time because I know we're going to be focusing in the latter half of the program with our research fellows to take a moment to talk about this not yet born but new idea of the practitioner fellows. And many of our listeners have called me actually before the program and are interested in hearing what that might become. And maybe we can just kind of have a discussion of what are the possibilities of what we see practitioner fellows would be, because this is an idea that's just cooking and brewing right now, and it is taking that research out into the field to improve practice. But how can people get engaged? We want to encourage our network members to get engaged, and so this is an opportunity for you as a network member out there to join our merry band and change the world. So Terry and Sam, I know we've talked a lot about this, but I just wanted to open up that topic for conversation before we lose Terry.
Yeah, well, I think one of the critical things that we do know in education is that teachers learn from each other, and having a peer-to-peer exchange is really a great mechanism for people to understand the challenges and how to go about making the kinds of not just changes in our instruction, but changes in our school's climate. So to me, part of the opportunity with the practitioner fellows is to have practitioners, classroom teachers, counselors, people who are in the trenches with students all the time, being able to inform and influence their peers about effective strategies. I also think that as practitioners, we rarely get a chance to take a deep breath and reflect and ask critical questions about our work. And what I think that the Practitioner Fellows Program will do is provide those opportunities for us to reflect, look at how do we continuously improve our work, look at things like technology and how does that impact engagement or disengagement of young people, looking at how do we create leadership opportunities, how do we create greater inclusion in our schools, how do we create the kinds of opportunities that not only young people feel connected to schools, but adults as well. So I see a great opportunity for practitioners to share with each other and also to share with us and policymakers about the kinds of changes that need to be made at the classroom level, but also at the systemic level. And it'll be a great opportunity for inquiry and reflection on how to do that.
Yeah, and I would wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think what we're looking for really is almost a nested network kind of approach where state to state, we begin to identify people, they begin to reach out to their networks, those networks are embedded with other networks, and it really does become the kind of the movement that Terry talked about at the beginning. But so I think that's the concept.
Mm-hmm.
We will be rolling out more information about that. This is not an overnight process, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that will build over time. But we do know that we will begin to engage our network more at our conference activities, for example. That might be a starting point, and then there are a number of other ways that we'll begin to do that.
And I certainly want to say now that that we want to encourage people to write to us about their ideas for practitioner, people at all levels, because we are cooking and brewing right now on this topic, and I think input from the field is essential.
No, absolutely it is, and that's certainly a first point of engagement, Marty.
Yes, sir.
And so we welcome ideas from people in the field about how we can move this idea forward and what additional ideas they may have for doing that, networks that they have, et cetera. So,
yeah, I think it's got exciting potential, especially when you talk about at the state levels. And years ago, someone said, "Do you have a state network association?" Well, no, we did not necessarily, and maybe that's part of the vision of what this next 25 years will bring for us, is a vision of different states having networks of practitioners who are our practitioner fellows. And
exactly.
So we certainly hope that all of you can think about doing that kind of thing in the future. And we're going to be switching in a minute or two to what these NDPC fellows who do exist now. They have created an organization of the first group of research fellows. And so we have one of them with us. I think Shannon is on the air now. Shannon, you there?
I'm here.
All right.
Welcome, Shannon.
Welcome. Well, Dr.
Sam.
Shannon Chappell is the research assistant professor. I got to hold my big breath for this one. At the Center for Educational Partnerships in the Darden College of Education at Old Dominion University in Virginia. What's the town, Shannon?
We're in Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, okay. Now, Shannon is here because she is the chair of one of the subcommittees of the NDPC Research Fellows. And her slide comes right after Terry's. I think, Shannon, you have a couple of slides that you will be talking to. But we're really glad you're here. And so I'm going to turn the mic over to you, as it were. And you can share with us what your plans are.
Okay. Well, welcome, Beth. It's nice to meet you, even if it is virtually. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest differences to somebody like me who's new or newer to the arena of dropout prevention and college and career readiness is what I'm seeing is that most other centers that are out there, whether they're either research centers or universities, they support or promote a particular program and or an initiative. And while certainly we support all of the efforts that are out there that are ongoing to improve graduation rates, my concern is that not all programs are going to fit successfully into all schools. As we know, the dropout problem isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. And what I like so much and what engaged me about the National Dropout Prevention Center Network is that what they've done historically and what I hope to continue to do and perhaps even enhance is to determine the best solution for each risk factor to help schools provide the most engaging environment that can successfully help and prepare these kids to graduate with a clear pathway to a successful post-secondary life, whether that's college or a career. And I'm excited to say that I'm part of this first effort in the Fellows Program, which is already underway. What we are working towards is establishing empirical evidence to identify the program components in these dropout prevention programs that are most effective at preventing dropouts and improving graduation rates for all students, particularly those that are most at risk of not graduating from high school. What we're going to be doing, actually we're in the preliminary stages now of gathering studies. We're conducting a meta-analysis of programs to provide further insight into what we already know. Previous studies that have been conducted by the NDPC and others, tell us that, what the risk factors are and that they're many, that they're multifaceted. And we also know from the literature what methods can help alleviate or eliminate these risk factors. But what hasn't been done is a synthesis of the literature on the programs to identify the program components or program characteristics that are most successful in reducing dropout rates and improving graduation rates. And what I believe and what I hope is that this study in the end will help us strengthen existing programs by impacting policy at the local and state, perhaps even national level, to help all of these students graduate on time with, again, that clear pathway to a post-secondary life, a meaningful post-secondary life. And I'll tell you, I've attended a number of dropout prevention and graduation improvement events over the past several weeks, both at, the business side and the economic side and even the national level. And the more events I attend, the greater the need I see for this project. So many of the programs that are out there require substantial funding and often substantial increase in personnel. And our current economic state just is prohibiting both of those. So if we can identify those program characteristics that have the strongest probability of positively impacting graduation rates, we can assist schools in selecting those characteristics that address their particular school type, whether it's rural or urban or suburban, and their particular problem, whether that's, academics or behavior or attendance or social emotional or health and well-being. And I really see this project being influential in policy and practice, and I'm really, really excited to be a part of this initial endeavor.
Yeah, it's an exciting agenda, Shannon, for the reasons that you just stated. We took a stab at this several years back, and so we sat around thinking it's time to redo this and even expand it, and that you and other fellows have taken this on, we think is very significant. I think your points about program characteristics are right on target. And this whole risk intervention matrix, I think, would be of tremendous benefit to school districts where, as you've said, may want to bring in a particular program that is too costly. But if they have the analysis of what those intervention strategies are, then they can put together programs that are research-based, that have embedded research-based intervention strategies in them. So it's just a tremendously important task, and I think that the committee has said that this would be an every 5-year effort, so it would be always current and up to date, and there would be one place really for people to come for that information.
Hey, Shannon, please stay on the line for a bit here. I'm really excited that we're getting, and I'm sitting here by the computer, and we're getting people from the field with suggestions, which we just asked for. And so as the researchers are here, and Jenny is here, and we're going to introduce her here in a minute as well. But this is a great question from Andrew, who works at the Institute for Youth Education and Families at the National League of Cities. And it's looking at that population of those young people who have already dropped out. So his question really is, we've done great work and paid attention to things that are going on at school, but here's his question. To what degree might the center undertake research and outreach and support efforts in the field to re-engage young people who have already dropped out with well-fitting educational pathways as a supplement to whatever prevention efforts are continued? So the ultimate goal being young people, seeing them through to secondary credentials and ready for post-secondary steps that will ensure a better adult and family life. So this segment of the population of those 30, 40, 50% in some locations, especially when we're looking at the cities, this is a group that we need to include in the research. And I just throw that out there because we got input from the field, and what an important statement that is.
Well, sure, and that will certainly be, and probably a variety of different program characteristics. We'll look at, recovering the students. That will be a characteristic. And what we do is we look at and we calculate through a big old fancy long formula an effect size or an impact of, this program has, a recovery component or a credit recovery or, those that have re-engaged. And we will look at the different impacts. This program has this, so it's programs that have that component versus those that don't. And what is the impact, the overall impact, or the outcome on the graduation rate of that school and on the dropout rate of that school? So those certainly are all program characteristics that we will be looking at, and I believe that they will play a key role. And, again, that policy, and even at the school level, we need to, increase our efforts towards recovering these kids. We certainly want to identify them before they get to that stage. But once they reach that stage, how do we re-engage them? But those are certainly all program characteristics that we will be including.
Yeah, it's a very important area, this area of re-engagement of students who already have dropped out. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the National Dropout Prevention Center for Students with Disabilities, which is an OSEP-funded center that works within our center, has just done some terrific work on this area of re-engagement of students. And in fact, there are 3 publications available through the center on that work. So I just wanted to mention that. So
I think we are ready to move on shortly to our other researchers. So, Shannon, have you completed your sharing for today? I know we got a lot to look forward to with the meta-analysis, but we got it started. And
sure, I could talk all day. I was on another call this morning.
Okay. Well, we may arrange for that. We certainly will. I think actually during the process it will be interesting to see what kinds of things you're finding, and as you work through this, you can share this on our radio webcast with the field. And I think we want to engage our network as much as we can, and this is a way we can reach everybody and where you can have conversations with them and as we move through the process. So we appreciate you calling us in from way far up north there in Virginia, and we'll be talking to you soon. So
okay, thanks. Thanks for allowing me to be part of it.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon Chappell,
thanks.
one of our NDPC fellows, and someone who just slipped in, as I mentioned while we were talking with Shannon, is Dr. Jenny Farmer, who is another one of the research fellows. And she is here because she is an assistant professor of special education here at Clemson University. And she has a chair of the other subcommittee, and she's working on project of a little different nature than Jen. So, Jenny, welcome to our program. It's good to have you here. And she's the first one we've been able to eyeball. Everybody else, we've just been crossing our fingers if the phone line works. But Jenny's here alive and in the flesh, and we welcome you to the program.
Thanks. It's good to be here. I'm excited about the NDCP Fellows, and it's good to have you here, Beth, and start this journey with us as we all kind of kick this off. So we're excited.
Well, Jenny, it's wonderful to have you here and here in the studio with us, so we can eyeball you. But you know, I just want you to. I know you're listening to what each of these fellows has to say, but they're indicative. Really, I wish we could have featured all of them.
Yes,
of the kind of talent and resourcefulness, really, that these people have, and they've given us a totally different perspective on things just in the short period of time we've been engaged with them, and we expect to grow this program and for that to grow the center. But as important as the meta-analysis is, and for that to be done on a regular basis, the fellows felt strongly that there needed to be something in the interim, an annual kind of thing that people could look to that would sort of capture what's happened for that year. And Jenny took on that task to chair that committee, and we're anxious to hear about your plans for that.
Yeah, the fellows, we decided that it was really important for us to keep current in the research within dropout prevention. And so what we decided to do is to create these annual reports, and there will be 4 of them over the course of 4 years. It's based on the 15 strategies that have been identified by the center. And so as those strategies are grouped into school and community perspective, early interventions, basic core strategies, and making the most of instruction, we'll be able to roll out a new annual report every year based on one of those core areas. And each annual report is going to contain a review of the research that has happened since the previous annual report. So everyone will be able to kind of see a good summary of the latest and greatest, what's out there, how's it been working, what have people been doing. We also want to highlight model programs. So as people continue to do research and implement programs within their schools, we're looking to highlight those programs and not only summarize what the program is and how it works, but really get an administrator perspective, a parent perspective, and even student perspectives of how do they see the program and what do they see the strengths of the program, if there was struggles getting it implemented, what did they learn from it? So as schools continue to move forward with other programs, they can implement. We're also looking to highlight current research, so research that hasn't yet been published but is going on within the areas, just to give everybody, this is what's going on right now. And then we'll have a policy brief that'll kind of summarize and give suggestions for that area, make suggestions about policy, and then look at unanswered questions. So what research maybe should we be doing that we're looking at? And so our first annual report that will be coming out is going to focus on the school and community perspective. And within that, the 3 strategies that are encompassed under that area are the systemic renewal, school community collaboration, and safe learning environments. And so we'll be providing a lit review on each one, review of the research, programs in each area, as well as current research. So right now we're really looking at the network to provide us with model programs or summaries of current research. So if you're doing research in one of these areas, please email it to us so we can include it within this annual report. And you can send that to me directly. My email is on the slides, but for those of you who don't have the slides in front of you, my email is Jenny F, so it's JENNIEF @clemson.edu. And we'd be happy to, take a look at it, put the summaries down and include it. And we're really looking for something, within that 100-word mark.
Some of our listeners may be new to the center or to the effective strategies, and so I think it will be helpful for them to look at our website and look under effective strategies and focus on that first cluster to see, like you hear the word systemic renewal. Wow.
Right.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about what does that actually mean, and certainly they'll get a good idea of it from the website, but they may not realize that they are a candidate to be providing you with information.
Exactly. So within the systemic renewal, we're really looking at that the process of people looking through their goals, evaluating their processes, and see what's going on. So really looking at kind of that organizational structures that really impact our learners. So if you're doing research with that, or if you have you're currently doing a program evaluation that's looking at that, those are the types of things we're looking for. Within school and community partnerships, anywhere where schools and communities are engaged. So it can be things such as incorporating parents and doing parent nights. It can be things within the community as far as nutrition, service learning type opportunities, programs like that we would be looking for. And then in safe learning environments, we're really looking for programs and research that are really looking at making the students feel safe and comfortable within their schools. So, anti-bullying has been a key word that we've been really focused on lately, that program. But even beyond that, things such as peer mediation, pieces about social emotional issues and learning and how we promote that, those would be the types of programs that we're looking for currently.
And I wanted to point out also on Jenny's subcommittee, which includes, I think, our next guest.
It does.
But
yes.
The point I want to make was Dr. Lee Crandall is on it.
Yes.
And tell the listeners who he is and why this is an interesting addition.
So Dr. Crandall is actually within and let me know if I mess this up because I am newer to Clemson. He is with our public health sciences program, but he's particularly interested in looking at how things such as nutrition, obesity can impact student learning and academic performance. Mm-hmm. And so he will actually be taking the lead on the school community collaboration piece of it. But it brings another perspective to education that sometimes we forget sometimes about how connected we really are, and we don't necessarily think about collaborating in these different areas in ways that we should. So he and Dr. Janie Lindahl and I are the ones that are heading up this report.
Yeah. So I think we were kind of excited about having the multidisciplinary team there for that group.
Yeah, interesting too. I mean, this whole area of school climate, I think, is so important, and not only in the context that you've given of a safe environment, but also an engaging environment. And you may have mentioned both of those, but the whole idea of development of relationships and how that school feels to a child when they walk in, whether or not it's engaging both in the classroom as well as in other areas, those are particular areas too that I hope you'll be looking at, because we've found those to be so important in keeping kids in school.
Yeah, and the motivation is key. I'll actually be working with the middle school in the fall that'll be working at increasing the motivation of a grade level of the students within it.
Well, thank you, Jenny, and I'm really appreciative to you and Shannon and all of the fellows for the work you've already put in, the work agenda that you've carved out. I think these are going to both be significant pieces. We feel strongly that a new research agenda will emerge from these activities, so you can see how this process will build into the future. And Marty, we've talked about now in a very brief period of time. I didn't think we would get through all of this, quite frankly.
No, you always worry. You always worry.
There's
not to worry.
much more to talk about, as
there
you
is.
can imagine. But at least we've given our listeners an overview of some restructuring that we're doing here with the center as a research center, with the network a much more active network, and as an outreach arm of the center. We've talked a little about the fellows program and how that fits into this organization, and have heard from two of our fellows and some of the work that they've carved out over the next year or two that we think is significant. And let's move on now and talk about a new initiative, another initiative, and one that relies heavily on technology. You may not think that when you mention the word journal, but we've got a whole new look and feel for this journal, and that is back also in keeping with our strategic initiatives of making better use of technology in the work that we do.
And what better place than an international journal? We have been involved with printing one for about 8 years, I think now, but we have decided to move to a web-based journal so we can reach the world and not have to worry about what's the postage cost to go to Tanzania or something? Everybody will be able to get this journal. And although we still will print certain copies, mainly there it's all going to be PDF and special features. And here to talk with us about these special features, we have the new editor. And I'm going to see if I can do this again, Janie. Dr. Janie Lindell, who is here with us in the studio, yay, because she's a Clemson person too, but here's her title, because she's special. She's the Eugene T. Moore Distinguished Professor of Educational Leadership in the College of Health Education and Human Development at Clemson University. Do I get an A?
You definitely do. I don't think
we've had a guest with a title like that before.
It does not fit on a business card. And it is really an honor to serve in that role. There's a wonderful story about Eugene T. Moore, who is a longtime South Carolina educator and school superintendent. Mm-hmm. So in my work in school leadership, it's really an honor to have a position named after him. I want to say welcome to Beth. I understand it. You have a long time experience with educational leadership as well in the state.
I do.
And it's going to be exciting working with you on all these projects that are coming up. I also want to say thank you to Sam for helping us to get rolling with the ideas about the new journal, and Marty's help with this too. It's an exciting new venture because we're really trying to figure out how to get research into practice very quickly, and perhaps the most salient way to do that is to do it in a way that's accessible to a lot more people than dusty old journals that you might find sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Right.
So Engage is the name of our journal. And it's an international journal with worldwide perspectives on how you keep school engagement rolling. We thought a lot and talked to some of our former journals board members about what would be a great idea in terms of giving it a title. And we kind of moved away from the sort of stuffy academic title to one that's a little bit more direct and in your face and says Engage.
I think it's a great title.
Yes, yes it is.
The research articles that we look at are going to be peer-reviewed, and for all those academics out there who are doing systematic research on dropouts, we want to encourage you to submit to our journal. And we're going to probably throw at you the same kind of editorial rules and styles, such as the American Psychological Association Style Manual. However, we ask for one huge difference to move this into the web world. And that is that instead of doing a 250-word abstract, we're asking people for a blogstract. Now, blogstract, we're inventing this, so you can call up and complain if you like.
New word.
But if we're inventing it, we kind of are in charge of what it is. Mm-hmm. We're still going to ask for 250 words, but we'd like that last couple of sentences to move away from the sort of, what the future research is and all that, and to open it up to a question about what it is that's in this article that you've just written that will stimulate thinking among the practitioners and other readers of the journal about either next steps in research or practice. And so what you'll find is the beginning of the article looks just the same as any other article, but you will find this sort of blog stimulator. Our plan is to keep asynchronous messages going about this because it is worldwide. Not everybody's going to get up to do a webinar at 3 a.m.
Right.
or 3:30 in the afternoon. So we'll keep this asynchronous discussion going for about 2 weeks to 30 days, depending on, the level of interest that's there. Each issue, we plan to have 4 to 5 articles, and we try to make sure that they're worldwide. The upcoming one has articles from New Zealand, rural South Carolina, urban Kentucky, Scandinavia, and I'm forgetting a place.
We're getting an exciting piece in the next few days about with film. This is the other thing I get excited about. I know the blogstract and the conversation is really good, but I'm excited that we're going to have video and pictures, and we're going to be able to see places in the world and things that people do. And in our magazine.
Right.
How cool is that?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, I paid kind of attention to the fact that we still want research articles, but we also want to have reports from practitioners of their successes. Mm-hmm. And if you write an article like that, you're going to work directly with an editor. You're not going to have a peer review and go through the kind of blind review process that scholars go through. And the same thing with youth voice. Mm-hmm. We definitely want to have the voice of youth who are engaged, or as your email person asked, people who've been disengaged, yes, who might want to tell their stories to our journal. And again, we're still going to ask them for a blog strike, because we really want that article to lead to a conversation, a worldwide conversation about the meaning of these experiences and what it looks like.
Okay, now you're all going to get to sit in on a little planning meeting with Marty and the journal editor here. And what I want to know is, when you say the blog strike will be up there for 20, 30 days or something, does that mean the author is going to be there?
Yeah, the author gets to respond back and forth to the people who are writing in about their reactions to the article. And that's why it's asynchronous, because conceivably someone in New Zealand is not going to be up 12 hours or even 24 in terms of the time zone differences. So, you may have to wait a bit for a response to what's happening. So it's not like a live chat. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there is this back and forth and this building of this larger community in terms of people talking. For those of the people who do dial into the web, the advantage of that is that, you might see in the print version, as a member of the National Dropout Prevention Network, you might see in the print version just snippets of the video or some still shots. But you actually, when you go to the website, get to see the whole thing. The same thing with other still pictures. Any article may have a few associated pictures with it that you're limited in terms of print, number of pages, and how much that's going to cost you, which, of course, when you get on the web, you can actually see all the pictures.
That's right.
And have a conversation about all the pictures that are there.
Well, just think about this, and we're trying to encourage contributors today as well. It's one of our goals, because we're trying to bring you listeners in and engaging in work. But just think, I'm thinking if I was an author and I actually thought I wrote something pretty profound and important and interesting, I would love to interact with my readers. Mm-hmm. How exciting is that?
I think it's really a huge step forward, and I think it does something that Shannon mentioned earlier in terms of helping us move some of the things that we're finding out in research and practice right into the policy arena. Yeah. Because hopefully what that discussion is it leads us to what ifs and how could we and what are the next steps that we actually need to take.
I'm getting deluged, by the way. I just got to tell everybody this, with emails of suggestions. You are listening out there. And we're going to pass all of these on to the appropriate people. Thank you. This is so phenomenal. We got to do this more often.
Well, it just goes to show you that if you engage people, they will contribute. And that's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
So, Janie, this is great. I don't know that in our introduction we mentioned that you were a fellow, and I think Janie Farmer mentioned that you were on our committee. But she is also a fellow, and so this is a special Fellows Day and a special Beth Day for sure. So you all set over there?
We're set.
You're set.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
Okay,
we appreciate all of your efforts. We're really excited about this journal. I think what you put together is something
we're exciting
really
too. We're looking forward to its launch. In the meantime, we hope people will continue to email the center and let us know what your ideas are. Feel free to contact me as well.
Okay, thanks Janie.
Thanks,
yes,
Janie.
This launch should be coming up later this summer. We are excited about this. This is one of the new biggies. And so, gosh, we're transitioning
on. We've got another guest coming into the room. I'll tell you, there's comfort in numbers during this broadcast.
Our final guest today is a very familiar face to those of us who are left standing, or sitting rather, in this room. And that is John Gaylor of our staff. And welcome, John. This is your first time on Solutions. We're really glad to have you here. And I think you're going to be sharing with our listeners some exciting events that are coming up. So tell us about them.
Well, thank you, Marty. It is good to be here, and I'm always excited to talk about our upcoming conferences and events, things that are taking place. Today, I would like to highlight the 24th Annual National Dropout Prevention Network Conference. That is being held October 14th through the 17th in Orlando, Florida. We're going to be holding that conference at the Rosen Plaza Hotel, which is located right there on International Drive in Orlando. You cannot find a better place to be at that time of year than in Orlando, Florida, and the Rosen Plaza gives us just a good location, very close to SeaWorld, to Disney World, shopping, food, anything you'd look for in the off hours of the conference. We know that's not why people attend those conferences, but they are very attractive.
So the off hours, we'll emphasize
the
that.
The off hours only, yes. That's correct. Mm-hmm. We're looking forward to that conference. We anticipate attendees from more than 40 states. Usually we will have about 40 to 45 states represented at our national conferences. And we will have over 100 presentations that will be taking place. And those are individuals or groups that have come to present their programs that have proven effective in the area of dropout prevention. We are even looking this year, we're excited to have some of the fellows that you have been talking about, to have them make some presentations as well. We also have about 50 exhibitors that will be present with us, and they'll be showing their products and different services that they have to offer. So it's a good place for folks to come, to network, to connect with peers who are involved in the same work, learn new ideas, and it's just a good time and a good opportunity for professional development. In addition to those presentations and networking there at the conference, participants also have the opportunity to go and to actually visit some sites that have demonstrated some effective efforts right there in the Orlando area. So we're excited about that conference, and we hope we will have a lot of folks joining us. It promises to be a good event.
Oh, it always is. And I think Florida in October sounds fantastic.
It does. And there's the website for that conference is listed there on the slide, www.dropoutprevention.org, and then 24th Annual National Dropout Prevention Network Conference.
Okay. And we have a slide for that. I hope you've seen that. And I think we've got another slide to look at, and that you've got us to about these Crystal Star Awards, which are given out at the national conference, I do believe, right?
That's right. One of the highlights of the conference every year is a luncheon where we honor those individuals and programs that have really made a difference in the area of dropout prevention. We give out programs that honor individuals and then also honor programs, and we look for nominations for those. We are in the process of accepting those nominations right now, and that deadline was to have been the end of this month, but we are extending that until August the 1st, and we'll be posting that on our website. Probably will go up tomorrow. We will have that August 1st deadline posted. And we are looking for anybody out there that really has an individual who has made a real significant difference in the area of dropout prevention, or a program that has proven effective. And we like those programs to have been in existence for at least 3 years to demonstrate their effectiveness. But we're looking for those, and those can be found on our website as well at www.dropoutprevention.org/crystal-star-awards. And we invite folks to make any nominations that they would feel moved to do.
And John, I want to mention too that I know we gave you we asked you to come in and talk about the national conference, but I want to say that we have two of these national conferences. One is always held at Myrtle Beach every year, and it's called the National Forum. But John and the staff of the network also do a number of regional conferences or statewide conferences, and they are always on the look for partners to bring them in and help with the conference planning and do something that is specific either topically or for your state or for your region. So he's the man to contact if you if you want to talk about it.
You can find John on our website for sure. John, you have to stay because you have big duty at the end of the show. Don't go away.
Right. We
got a few more things to go over here, but I think that's a great point, Sam. That we're talking with our listeners today about how you can be engaged in the work of the National Dropout Prevention Center to try to meet this mission that we have. And this is a wonderful way to both go and share what you're doing, but learn from others and get revitalized. And there's nothing like going to our conference and coming back totally reinvigorating. And it's due to the work of John and his team and how they put together, and the teams that he has in the local sites that have put together these phenomenal events. year after year after year. So we appreciate all of them, and we appreciate all of you out there who participate, because you're the ones. If nobody came, there wouldn't be anything. So we appreciate all of you and what you've been sharing over the years, and I know that you will continue to do so. But
well, in the remaining time, I want to turn now to our new director, Beth. I know you are still catching your breath after a week or so at the center. I joke with her that we will say things 3 or 4 times, and then the next time she hears it in another context, she'll recognize what we're talking about, and that's really beginning to happen now. Maybe this program pull it all together for you. But I think what we'd be interested in hearing your impressions of what we've talked about today, and then I know that you have additional ideas that are really going to add to this, and maybe even move some of this in a little different direction. So we would just be interested in hearing your ideas about that.
Well, as I said earlier, I am absolutely delighted to be with the center now, and I have been there for, I think, 9 days total. And I laugh and joke and tell people I feel like I've been drinking from a fire hose in terms of information. But it has been powerful, both to get to know the staff and to learn in depth some of the work of the center and what has really been happening. I knew from a surface level, but to learn what has been going on has been a very powerful and rewarding experience. In terms of direction that I see, I'll start with what we already have. What we already have is a deep research base of evidence-based solutions and what the causes of dropout are and how we might prevent those. And we absolutely will continue in that vein and build on the 25 years that the center has been doing that deep work. But I do see us expanding the research piece of this. And I am, Sam, in awe, and I say this in all sincerity, I'm in awe that across the short period of time that you've been interim director, you have worked with the board to really shape a new direction for the center that is dead on. The idea of becoming a research center and having an outreach arm for the work to make that, bridge that connection with practitioners is so very powerful. And I'm just delighted to learn more about that and to pick up that ball. I also want to build on the great work of the center and the network here as we go forward. A couple of other things that I think that we have that are coming up is this whole idea of strengthening our involvement with the Clemson faculty. I'm looking forward to us partnering with them. I've been interviewing staff members individually, and I keep hearing we just need to work more with the College of Ed, and we do. We do need to work with HEHD and other universities across the country, so we want to do that. And then I look at the possibility that we talked about when I had my initial meeting with staff, that there are a lot of things changing right now. The world around us is changing. In the specific curriculum area, the nation now has developed college and career-ready standards, not college or career, but Absolutely. College and career standards. And those need to enlighten some of the direction that we take beyond this point. It is an issue. The dropout issue, as we look forward, is also an issue that really spans the entire educational gamut. I think our bounds will be moved beyond just K-12 and dropout prevention to really developing strategies that help students at any level who struggle stay in school and come back to school. What is Plan B? To make that come to fruition. So I guess in essence, those are some of the big ideas I have, but there are more coming. We're going to have some more strategic conversations with lots of partners to figure some of that out and carve out a good direction for us to go.
I think it's a logical extension of the work, and we know there will be big things coming down the pike. We're really, as I said earlier, and I can't say enough, and this is not totally self-serving on my part, very happy to have you here. we are really pleased to have a person really of your both passion and insights and skills. And I think the National Dropout Prevention Center and Network are in good hands, and we look forward to the work to come.
I just have to make one more plug. I'm looking down at my little notes here, and I realize one thing that I am saying on this broadcast. There is one more direction that we're taking that I am so excited about, and that's this whole business of going virtual with our publications and professional learning and the International Journal. It is absolutely the right way to go. It'll eliminate piles, and it'll spread us out. So people can access us.
Maybe I'll finally get my desk cleared off.
All right. Well, we've come to that hour. I want to thank. I know. We have that. I'm not going to overlook one of the more important parts of the conference. But I do want to thank all of our presenters today. I don't think we've ever attempted to have this many guests on a show. And thanks to all of our technical people.
It worked.
It just worked like a dream, and boy, we sure credit them with that. It's amazing that they could coordinate all of this. But it's now time to pull our name out of the hat.
Okay, and John, go in there.
Right.
And this is so exciting.
Who
is going to Orlando?
All right, here we have it. The winner is Carl White from Nome, Alaska.
Wow.
Our most loyal listener, and this was not fixed. This was not fixed. There was a lot of names in there, and I was watching. He was not peeking.
I couldn't even see him if I tried.
He couldn't even see him if he tried. He doesn't have his glasses on. Oh, congratulations, Carl.
Congratulations, Carl.
We do know how to get in touch with you. This is
and
fantastic.
I haven't met you yet, Carl, but I look forward to doing that. Hopefully in Orlando we can connect.
Absolutely.
And we'll be in touch with you in the next couple of days to tell you about how you can claim that free registration. That's worth about $400, so it's a good prize.
Oh, my. I would have called in if I'd known that. A lot of
You're
people
not
are
eligible, Marty.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay. I say, well, this is the exciting end of the Solutions Year when we pull that name out of the hat. But I have to tell everybody, because we're kind of folksy sometime on the show, that when I got up this morning, I turned on the Today Show, and they're all weeping away because Ann Curry is leaving. And I have to say, I'm feeling that way, too, because my co-host and colleague is abandoning me to others who will be wonderful. But this is a hard moment for me, and so he's not crying, he's smiling, but I'm the Ann Curry, and I'm not going anywhere.
But I'm free.
He's free. Yes, free. Well, we as Beth says, we'll find ways to get you back.
We have your cell phone number.
We have you. We know how to reach you anyway. But thank you, Sam.
I can't afford to become overwhelmed with emotion here, and I am, because I won't be able to finish up this show. But this has been a great run. This all started about 4 years ago, and we've just had great fun doing it. Our listeners have been fantastic. They've participated more and more. So many people are accessing these shows from the archived website. And we just hope they've been helpful, and we're going to continue to move forward with these with better programs in the future, I'm sure. I hope this broadcast has been helpful to you. It did deviate from our normal broadcast where we cover a particular solution and how you might apply that solution to help prevent dropouts. I think what we covered today was important also to let you know where the center and the network are going, how you can participate with us, because we really do want you engaged. I'm excited that Marty has been getting one email after another with people with ideas. That tells me that this will work, and it'll work well, and people will become engaged. And when asked to do something, people generally step up to the plate. And so we're asking you to engage with us at our conferences through suggestions for these fellows, maybe as a practitioner fellow in the future when we have that more fully defined, and really developing these kinds of networks within your state or your region that can help us solve this problem. This is a movement. Terry Pickerel mentioned that, and it's always good to be a part of a movement to do good. So we will be returning to our usual format in the fall, and we'll have a variety of programs. I don't know that Marty has a list of those to give you today, but just stay tuned. We'll be broadcasting those through our regular channels. Watch out then for information about future Solutions programs.
Can I say one more thing before you hang it up? And that is, we have pre-recorded this program, and so please share this with your colleagues so they can get a full idea of what's going on with what's coming up in the next 25 years. And it's all archived in the usual places.
Okay, so thanks to all of you for listening and participating with us. Remember, we know why students are dropping out of school, and with research-based solutions, and I'm going to add today with the new research center and an active network, we can assure that all of our students graduate. Join us next time for more Solutions to the Dropout Crisis.